The moment that people in the NBA were finally waiting for. Jimmy Butler has been traded. He got traded to Philadelphia for basically nothing. Like, this is one of the biggest steals I can remember in an NBA trade in a while. Um, Timberwolves got Saric, Covington, and a second-round pick. And then I think was Jared Bayless involved in this? I don't think it worked out because of cap, actually.
I think Jared Bayless, I think he was involved in it, and then the Timberwolves also sent Justin Patton to
Yeah, that's what it was.
Philadelphia with Jimmy Butler, and there was a couple other trades that they put out that they could have accepted. I think one of them was
One
like
of them had Justice Winslow in it, which is like
Justice Winslow,
would have
Nikola
taken him.
Mirotic, and a first from New Orleans, and they had a couple options. It's not like their offer from Philly was the only one.
Yeah.
But
I would have taken that Rockets one, the 4 first-round picks.
The 4 first-round picks, Eric Gordon. I think Nene was involved in that. Like, I don't know. I mean, obviously Philadelphia, they fleeced the Timberwolves.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever way you look at it, like, we can get into details a little bit, but I mean, at the end of the day, the Sixers got Jimmy Butler, and that's all that really matters.
I tweeted out something. It was like, oh, Philly lost their 2 of their best 3 shooters for a star. Let's see what happens, or something like that. And everyone thought that I meant that Philly like lost the trade somehow. I'm like, no, this obviously makes Philly better. Like, there's no denying that, but it doesn't fix the problem they have. They have no outside shooting. Like, their backcourt combined for what, like 4 threes, and they're all Markelle Fultz.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the issue was, I wrote about this in an article as well. Philadelphia was ranked 21st in the NBA in 3-pointers in a game. Per game, and obviously JJ Redick leads the charge for that, and he's still there, so he'll continue chucking up threes for them. But Saric was shooting 45% from 3. Covington was shooting 39%, and Covington's he's known for his 3 and D. That's the type of player he is. And Jared Bayless, I mean, he's an older player, but he's a veteran. I mean, he can shoot the ball a little bit. It's like they got Jimmy Butler, who is a career 37% shooter from 3, which is nothing.
That's way higher than I thought it was, actually.
Yeah, it's nothing. There's nothing wrong with that percentage. Like, that's fine, but you look at what's left in Philadelphia now. It's like they didn't fix that problem. Like, in the NBA, it's all about shooting. Like, whatever way you look at it, like, you need shooters in order to win. And right now they have one great shooter. Like, Joel Embiid is only shooting 35% this season.
Is he their second best shooter, or would you go Jimmy?
Jimmy Butler would be now. And then I think
for Embiid, I think
it's either 30% or 35%. It's one of those two. But the only way the Sixers can fix this problem is by going out and getting another shooter, which they can do.
I think I saw reports that Kyle Korver was in talks to go to Philly. There was another person that was in talks to go to Philly. Oh, Melo. Melo is like the leading favorite. I mean, we'll touch on that in a little bit, but this puts Philly above Milwaukee. I think they were pretty close. It kind of goes into that Celtics. If they can turn it around, they're up there with Toronto, who's the head of the East. I think Philly's easily top 3 teams in the East now. Like, there was questions with Milwaukee, there were questions with Indiana, but especially when you add a top 15 player in the league, you might even be the second best team in the East.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, going into the season, Toronto, Boston, and Philly were the 3 best teams, and then you had Milwaukee that came out of. I mean, they didn't come out of nowhere. I mean, they've been expected to be this good for a while, but they finally made that jump this year. And then you were thinking, oh, Philadelphia might not even be better than Milwaukee. And then they made this trade, and I think that does put them back into the top 3. If we're looking long-term, if we're looking by the end of the season, I still don't think they're going to be better than Toronto or Boston. And that's really just because of their shooting. And I think when it comes playoff time, I really can't see them taking down a top team in either conference in the East, or if they
without shooting
to the finals against the Warriors. Like, you look at this trade, they're making this trade because you want to win now. That's obvious, and they're going to probably re-sign him for years to come. But you're not going to win now with that team. That's a good team. You got a big 3. Like, you got a solid core, but you need to build on that.
Would you? So wait, he's definitely re-signing next year. Well, more than likely going to re-sign in Philly.
Yeah, more than likely.
Ben Simmons is up in 2 years, and B just got signed last year.
Well, technically, this is Simmons' third year. So next year, I think he's due for an extension this offseason.
Yeah, I mean, I think they'll pick him up a team option this year.
Yeah, team option, and then they can extend him after next season. And then Joel Embiid just signed a 5-year deal
5 years,
last year.
yeah.
So he's there for a couple more years. And then
So they only need to lock those two up. Like, I would be fine with letting Fultz walk. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Fultz isn't on this team in a couple of weeks. Like, I can still see him getting traded because you saved an asset, which I think they don't really not want, but Markelle Fultz is broken. And like, yes, it's still 20-ish, not even games into the league, and she's hit a couple threes here and there, but like people make such a big deal about it that it just got to be like, it's like when the kid who doesn't score scores in basketball and the crowd goes wild. That's what they're doing in Philly with the first overall pick. So that can't be like enlightening or like confidence boosting. It's so weird with that.
Like we hear jokes, like we make jokes about Markelle Fultz, his shooting form and everything, but like I just don't see him fitting the team now. It's like Ben Simmons is obviously going to be their point guard. Like he's not going to Markelle Fultz isn't even in the starting lineup now. It's Simmons, Redick, Butler, Wilson, Chandler, and Embiid. He's not even in the starting lineup. So if he's a backup now, and obviously if you don't see much improvement from him in his shooting, I mean, he just had, what was his trainer? Him and his trainer just parted ways. Like there's just so much going on with him. And you look at this trade, Markelle Fultz is really the last asset this team has to make a decent or like a big trade. Like they have maybe a couple first round picks, but other than that, they got no more young guys. They got Markelle Fultz is really it. So if they make a trade and they want to bring in someone else that could help them win now, Markelle Fultz is not going to be on the team. Like he's going to have to be involved in that trade. And I don't know. I mean, he's 20 years old. Like obviously when he was going into the draft, I loved him. I still think he has a ton of potential, but it's just whatever direction the Sixers want to go.
At what point do you think they ditch Fultz and go Zaire Smith or even trade Zaire Smith?
That's the thing too. He's out for the year at least. He's out for the year. He's out for a while still. With that, was a foot injury? Was it? Yeah. So I mean, they have him. I don't know, man. Like I said, it all depends on what they want to do. Like if they don't think that they can win now at this roster, which I think they'll realize soon because they have a great team. But like I said, they're not winning. You need shooting. If they can get a trade offer from Markelle Fultz that they can't turn down, they're going to do it. I don't think they're going to just hold on to him because they see the potential in him. Because you got Simmons, who is going to be a top 10 player in a couple of years. You have Embiid. You have Jimmy Butler now. Like you don't need to wait on Fultz. Like if you want to win now, you trade Fultz for a guy that is a proven NBA player.
Yeah, he's not going to get a top tier talented guy. He'll get like probably like the 10th to 12th person on the All-Star team. Like that's might be your best person you get back.
They can definitely get an All-Star. They can try to find a team that will take him for like a not a superstar, an All-Star that doesn't want to be on their team, or maybe even like a top pick in one if they want to give it another go in the draft.
Pick for pick.
Yeah, you never know.
I wonder if he's going to get a second contract or like how much it'll be. I can't think of like a first overall pick that's been like this flat out of the gate minus Anthony Bennett.
Yeah, I mean,
he was never anything. Like he was out of the league. He wasn't even a storyline. At least what they're talking about Fultz. I don't even know.
That's the thing with Fultz. It's not like there's still potential in him. Like there's somewhere deep down inside, Fultz can be a great player. It's just his
literally shot. A year ago it was fine.
You saw there was a video on Twitter today of him shooting for the draft, and it was so much different. And then I saw someone in the comments for some video of Fultz. He was like, this guy said he was a doctor. I don't know if he actually was. He was like,
I could make with
the whole for his shoulder. They're saying that he could have like nerve damage or something like that, and that could be affecting a shot because he had a serious problem with it. So I mean, there might be something going on that maybe we don't know about, like with his shooting for like why it's like that, or maybe the Sixers don't even know what's going on with him. But I mean, I feel for the kid. I mean, I really want him to play well, and it's bringing in Butler. He's just losing more and more time to showcase his talents and try to improve.
Yeah, for sure. So we're going to twist off that. We are Benchwarmers Radio. Hopefully you've been listening to the first 4 episodes we've had. This is episode 5. Always brought to you by We the People Sports. Check them out on Twitter at WTP Sports. I'm Tyler at Ty_Miller35 with Dante at Dante on Deck. Check out all those Twitters if you want to follow along with some NBA news, Celtics news specifically, because we're both Celtics fans, like we've mentioned before. Based off that, Celtics aren't to a great start, like 7-6.
7-6. I mean, it's been a very slow start to the year. I mean, it's tough because this is something that definitely, like, it happened, but it's like it definitely was. It could have been predicted all along. But Celtics fans, including myself, like everyone, just saw the lineup, the roster we had, and kind of assumed that we were just going to be unstoppable right out the gate. But really, I mean, there are a lot of things this team has to work on, and obviously, bringing in Gordon Hayward, bringing him back into the team, bringing Kyrie back, like handling how to play with those two superstars along with everyone from last year. It's been difficult. Like, it really has been. Like, Gordon Hayward, he's coming off of the injury that he's had, and that's where it's understandable why.
Did you see that thing? It was like Gordon Hayward said he'll come off the bench. I'm like, let's relax.
Yeah,
let's relax. It makes sense, yes, but like we've been playing so many difficult teams. This is like too. We've been playing so many hard teams at the beginning of the year, which like I'd rather have like a hard start to the year than easy. So like you can play up to your opponent, and then like once it gets easier, it'll just like you're already playing wicked good basketball, so it looks like you're so much better than you are. Just blah blah blah, confidence boost. But if you want to get Gordon Hayward back into the swing of things, he hasn't been playing terrible. Like everyone's like, oh, Gordon Hayward's like horrible. He's like, just why is he on this team? Why are we paying him so much money?
Yeah.
We're 13 games into the season. Like, relax. Yeah. We're not even a quarter of the way through. We're not even a month of the way through, I don't think. November, 16th is the 1 month mark.
Yeah, we're not even a month in. I mean, it's like people have to understand. I mean, you can make the case that maybe since he was on his minutes restriction, he could have been eased back into the lineup. But now, last game, he played 31 minutes. So he's off. It looks like he's off the restriction now.
Yeah.
He has to play in order to get accustomed and get back into the swing of playing against like real NBA players. You have to go up against you have to go up against starter players. Like, that's the thing. Like, and we were talking about, I put out a poll. I've been talking about like if the Celtics should make a lineup change, like who would it be, Jaylen Brown or Gordon Hayward? Because those two, I feel like, are the only two that you can make the argument for.
Yeah.
I would say Brown, honestly, because
Just
Hayward,
electricity off the bench, speed off
the
bench.
And it's like with Hayward too, it's like he's a max player. He is a proven all-star when he's healthy, and he needs to get accustomed to playing with the starters. Like, by playing with the bench, it's going to help him maybe ease back into it, but then you have to put him in the starters.
Chemistry.
Then you have to see how he plays next to Kyrie, Jason Tatum. It's like, no, like you want to get that going right off the bat. But no, I mean, I think he's only averaging 9-10 points a game right now. For what it is, he really isn't playing bad. He's off to a slow start, which was very
expected. And like, you didn't expect that, you're a moron.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like the Celtics have the 5th hardest schedule so far this year. The next 17 games, 2 of those teams have winning records, and it's against Toronto and Utah, which is on Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
And after that, like the next 14 games are against like not bad teams, but teams that are beatable.
So we could go. I'm not going to even say it's likely because it's not likely, but it's very realistic. We go 8-8 heading into that stretch, which isn't great.
It isn't great, but I mean, who are playing Chicago?
2011 Heat went 9-8 to start the year, and they made the finals. Just something to think about.
Yeah, I mean, you see all these like. We're 13 games into the season. The season isn't over. Like, when we talk about the schedule being so hard, it's like once this team figures out, like once the rust is off of Hayward,
it'll click one day.
Once Brad Stevens gets the minutes right, gets the lineup right, this team is going to be unstoppable. Like, for real. Like, from top to bottom, from Kyrie Irving to the end of the bench, this team has talent, and this team, like. Their record right now doesn't show it, but they have potential to be one of the only teams that could take down the Warriors.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they'll be fine. Like, NBA Twitter, it's exciting and stuff. Boston NBA Twitter is filled with lunatics.
People freak out too quick.
Biggest idiots. I saw like you said something about Jason Tatum Like people are freaking out about Jason Tatum saying he's terrible. He spent too much time with Kobe. I'm like, all right, like you can't spend too much time with one of the greatest basketball players without learning something. So like clearly he's gonna get better.
Yeah, and it's like I've had people say to me like, "Oh, like Jason Tatum needs to come off the bench." I was like, "Okay, first of all, you don't watch Celtics
Let's relax.
basketball. Second of all, that's just not happening because that's going to figure itself out. All right, like Brad might have to make a couple lineup changes here and there to figure stuff out, see what works. But at the end of the day, the starting five we have now is going to be the starting five come playoff time.
Come April, that starting five is going to look like a totally different team.
Exactly. Like they're going to be fine. They just need to figure out like Gordon Hayward. He, like I said, last game was the first time he played 30+ minutes. His rotation and like his spurts in game, like how he was in for a couple minutes and was taken out and going back in, that messes stuff up. And now that he's able to play consistent minutes with the starters, I feel like that will show improvement with the team and that will help him with his progression.
Yeah, for sure. Anything else you really want to mention on the Celtics? It's just like we have the Bulls tonight, which should be a win. Like they're playing about an hour, but you never know. Like they started
like with the Suns,
going up by so many points. Yeah, literally, like we always blow a second quarter lead. That was just our thing. Now we're not even like we're going back from 20 points, which is ridiculous. Like we went from playing so well in the first quarter to having to like blow it, but now we're like playing so bad for about like 30 to 40 minutes of basketball and then having to climb back and lost like 12.
Yeah, and it's crazy because like against Denver, we were up 20, lost that game. Suns down 20, came back, and then we played against Utah and Portland. All those games are winnable, especially the 2 games against Utah and Trailblazers. If you don't go down 20 and you just played the way you were when you were coming back, you win those games. Like you just can't go down by 20. Like it's obvious. Like you don't want to go down 20 because you're probably not going to win. But
pretty
like,
good idea.
Like it's just so frustrating. Like it's not. I'm not saying I'm being very patient with this team.
Yeah, like, that's what I've been watching the whole thing. Like I watched it so not intensely, just like I remember most of the game. Like I'm not someone who's like always on their phone or whatever. But like it just kills you to see how good this team should be. Exactly. And they're off to such a slow start. And you know they're gonna be better, but we've waited all year for Gordon Hayward to come back. And like we knew he was gonna start slow, but like actually seeing him start slow after like waiting this long is like frustrating. Like you're so much better than this. And then we go down against bad teams. Like the Suns really is the only bad team we went down to early.
Orlando.
But the Jazz we were going back and forth, and then they pulled away for like 16-point lead, and I think that was like what killed it. Trailblazers we go down way too late, but they always like find a way back. It's like they don't roll over, which I guess is good. I don't think they've got blown out other than Toronto.
No, every
but even then, Toronto was like a 12-point game at the end. When
every single loss that we've had this year has been by single digits, except for Toronto. That's the thing too. It's like every game
they could roll over and close.
It's like it's like you said. It's very frustrating because we know we know how good this team is supposed to be, and they're not showing it right now. And Jaylen Brown said it best. This is probably going to be their worst stretch. Like I don't think the team's going to get much worse than it is right now. Like, I really think that there is nowhere to go but up, and I think this road trip, as much as it sucked to watch, it really is like a learning curve for this team. And
yeah, we didn't even mention the road trip part.
Yeah, 1-4 on the road. Like that, that's not a good record. And I mean, for this team just starting to figure stuff out, I mean, 1-4 isn't good, but like I said, like there's a blessing in disguise. Like they're gonna have to learn from it.
And now we have such an easier schedule hopping back, especially we're going to have so many more home games. As a fan, I love that because it's no like 9:30 starts anymore. It's like 7 or 7:30.
That too. The 7:30 start tonight. That's perfect. But I mean, and plus we were on the road so often too. Like that definitely plays into it. Like being at home, having those early games. Really, I mean, it doesn't really matter with the West time and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But just like being home and just playing, it's so much easier. Like bringing that chemistry up, going up against easier teams than it is these like playoff or even championship contending
teams.
Like
borderline scrimmages sometimes.
Yeah. So I mean, the Celtics will be fine once they start these next 17 games. that's when they're going to start picking it up, and that's when that's when me and you are going to be like, finally, this team is playing like they should be.
Say we head into that like 17 game stretch, 8-8. How many losses would you be like, oh, that's too much? Like, would 5? Like, if they don't go 12-5, and that might be too much. I'm thinking 13-4.
I'd probably say
like they could drop 4 and I'd be comfortable.
5. Yeah, I'd be okay. I'd be fine with 13-4 because I was looking at the schedule and like these teams are
not great, like bad.
Great. I'll pull it up 1 second.
It starts with the Knicks.
Yeah, we have
that one next
Chicago,
Wednesday.
Toronto, Utah, Charlotte, New York, Atlanta, Dallas, the Pelicans, Cleveland, Minnesota without Jimmy Butler, New York again, Chicago again, Pelicans again, Washington, Atlanta, Detroit, and Phoenix.
I can see us dropping one of the New Orleans games.
New Orleans, yep. Washington,
simply because Washington always just is
always a good game. And I mean New York. Granted, this was at
for what it's worth. Yeah,
we did only win by 2, I believe it was, because Trey Burke missed free throws at the end.
But other than that, like
other than that, like you might have like you're always gonna have games where they're winnable games, but you might lose to a bad team. But I mean, I think 13-4 is a reasonable.
Yeah, like
reasonable.
What they'd be 21 and whatever, in 12 or something like that.
I'm not good at math, but they have a pretty good record.
Good enough record after 8-8.
Yeah,
that's like worst
case
scenario too.
They'd be looking much better after this stretch than they are right now.
Yeah, Toronto, if they keep this up, they'll easily be 1 seed. Like that was
Toronto's disgusting. They're very good.
As we mentioned earlier, though, Melo gone from the Rockets. I mean, it was just like, did you see the story about how he found out he was getting cut?
No, what was it?
So it was like after, I'm sure like this is all within a day, but like after the game, he dropped like 2 points on like 1 for like 35 shooting. He went to the locker room. There was like nobody talking and anything. He was just like by himself in the like locker room, headphones on and everything. Russ Westbrook came in, didn't even like acknowledge he was there because he went to go meet up with Harden after the game.
Oh yeah,
he gets like tweeted at. He gets like a phone call on the way out. He's like, "Hey, you might as well pack up your whole locker." And I was like, "Oh my god,
yeah,
so funny."
And he went right onto the bus. I did see that.
Yeah.
No, I mean it's crazy because it's just like it happened so quick.
Yeah, it was like what? We're 15 games in or something.
And
they already quit.
Came out of nowhere. Like he wasn't obviously he's not having a great season, but like they really just gave up on him. Like he's not off the team yet, but basically they're saying look for landing spots because there's this whole thing involving the tax. Like if they waive him or something like that, they take a tax hit, whatever. So he's basically weighing his options, like the Lakers, Portland, New Orleans, Philly, and I think there was one more team. I can't remember. I think San Antonio, maybe. I don't know.
Boston was in the room. I think that was just the NBA. I don't think that's serious. Though.
That's just that was just people going off of what Kyrie said about wanting a veteran.
15-year vet, whatever. Tony Allen is a 15-year vet.
I'm telling you, he's a free agent. He brings defense. He won a
he'll
title.
try.
Like he can play minutes. Like he's solid. But anyway, with Melo, I mean, hell, send him to Philly. I would love that.
Jimmy Butler and Melo going to Philly?
Oh, Golden State, too, because of ring chasing and stuff
That's
like
where I thought he was going to go originally. I thought before anything he was going to go Golden State.
I mean, if you really think about it, like, for him, I mean, that's where I'd probably want to go at this stage of my career.
Maybe even LA.
If you want to go to LA, like, he can definitely get playing time. Like, he'll probably get solid bench minutes, and LeBron's his best friend, so he'll hook him up. But if you want to go and try to win a ring, Golden State, and if Boston's an option, which I hope it isn't because I don't want him on my team.
I want nothing to do with him.
I want nothing to do with him. I think those two are your best options. But I think the most realistic place for him to go is LA.
Yeah, for sure. Warriors kind of breaking up maybe with a fight. Like this is just so blown out of proportion. Yeah. It's literally nothing when they're going to win another championship.
Here's the thing. Like there was that video where it was like him lipping saying like that's why I'm out, man. No, he said I looked into it a little bit more and people were responding to it. He says, "Man, this is crazy" or something like that. Like people just took it, spin it, everything out of control. Like Draymond Green got suspended. Like he didn't get paid.
That's also so dumb that he got suspended. I mean, like you had to do something, but like suspended without pay seems to be like extreme. Like, dude,
listen, at the end of the day, Kevin Durant's going to weigh his options in free agency regardless. But that's next year. Like right now, they're still together. Like they're still probably going to win a championship. So that doesn't affect anything right now. Like you hear all this noise now, and if there really is an issue, I'm sure they'll put it aside and for the sake of winning. And when the offseason comes, they'll take care of it then. But I mean, yeah, I think it's just the Warriors. They're going to go on a crazy win streak. Everyone's just going to forget all about it. Like they're laughing about it now. Like people are saying what they want to say, but at the end of the day, they're still the goddamn Golden State Warriors. So I mean, whatever.
It's like Kevin Durant's brother even said some stuff.
Yeah,
which is like so dumb. Like you are not in the NBA for a reason, so you should not chime in for NBA drama.
His mom, TMZ, put out a thing saying like how she loves LeBron James and Magic Johnson. He's going to LA. It's like, oh come on, like enough of it. Like I said, like this year he's still in Golden State. They're probably going to win a championship. Enough of the whole breaking. And then Bill Simmons is tweeting like how Draymond Green can get traded. Like he put out a trade package of Draymond and Sean Livingston for Al Horford and Rozier. Get out of here, bro. No one's getting traded. All right, that they're gonna figure their stuff out because they're gonna sit down. I don't know if Kevin Durant and Draymond Green have talked since then. He said in the press conference that they hadn't. Once they all sit down together, Steph Curry is gonna be the good guy. He's gonna get
everyone something together. Dumb like about his kid.
He's just gonna be like, guys, just calm down.
We won 82 games. Or
yeah, it's like guys, like look what we're doing right now, and like we're gonna be fine. Like they're still gonna win. So I mean, it's just noise. It really is just noise. It's NBA Twitter having its fun because we honestly can never joke about the Warriors because whenever this stuff happens with the Warriors, we love talking about it because they're just always so good, and it's like we hope something happens, but nothing ever happens.
Yeah, this is like this. It's like on a Richter scale, like it barely moves up just a little bit. It's like, oh, we have to make this a huge deal.
Yeah, and it's like we saw what happened, like how they goof around, like with when that guy, his Fergie's husband, said something, and they went in the locker room. Like they'll just joke about it in a couple weeks from now. They'll just laugh it off. Like it was nothing. Did you see
what Klay Thompson said?
He was like, it'll be
in the past like a ponytail. This dude is just on all the drugs.
What's that from? Who said that? I think Drake had a line or something like that. I think he took that from a Drake song.
I'll check right now. What is it? In the past like a ponytail.
I think it was Drake. I could be wrong. But, yeah. I mean.
Yeah, Drake on right hand.
Right hand. That's what it in the past like a ponytail. Yeah, that's what it is. Right. But
I didn't realize that. I thought he just made that up, so it makes it so less funny. Like he's just always high.
Like when I read that, I literally read that in like in a rapping way. And I'm like, who the hell said that? But I mean, I don't know if I like the comparison, but like he does make a point. Like it is going to be all in the past in a couple weeks.
Yeah, in like a minute.
Now. Like a ponytail. Yeah, Klay Thompson's wilding.
He's a national treasure. Like
he is a national treasure.
He's so good, but he's honestly one of the most like memeable people that doesn't get touched unless by it's like a certain amount of pages. Like I know Mixtape follows him excessively and always tweets out their stuff about him. I don't know. He's just bizarre.
I love him.
But yeah, like this isn't going to be anything.
No, not at all.
And this one going to my next point. I've never seen so many idiots on NBA Twitter. Not even NBA Twitter, just Twitter.com. Like I just see so many hypotheticals tweeted out or whatever, like the Bill Simmons thing, or you see like a bunch of people with like 16 followers and no Twitter picture telling me why LeBron James is actually bad at basketball, and I'm just like, dude, I don't know where you're thinking. Like I don't know how you ever thought of that.
I really feel like people just make these accounts
just to troll,
people. Like with the no profile and stuff, like with Dante on deck and stuff. Like
Twitter eggs coming at you.
I just get so much like bullshit, like people just saying stupid things. It's like I try to respond to as many people, like try to interact with people.
Yeah.
There are some people where I'm just like,
I'm not touching that.
I'm not even bothered with this guy. Like there's no point because the take is just so stupid. Like people always keep bringing up Kyrie. Oh, Kyrie to New York. It's like, buddy, he literally said 2 months ago he's
maybe
coming back.
KD, but I don't think Kyrie.
Yeah, no, that's what started. I was like, okay, I think Kevin Durant's going to New York. That's just my prediction. People are like, oh, Kyrie is going with him. I'm like, no.
Where do you think KD will end up?
I honestly, if he
New York does make a lot of sense, but say like New York was out of the picture. Like I'm trying to think of any top teams, maybe Lakers.
If he leaves Golden State, my top 3 teams are New York, the Clippers,
Pelicans.
If they don't get Kawhi, and wait for it, the Oklahoma City Thunder.
A return.
Listen. I know they have to make a couple moves to make the salary.
They might have to get Paul George out of there.
But listen, he's gonna do something. He's gonna follow the LeBron somehow, whether it's go to New York like he did in LA and lead a team that hasn't won a title in years and become likable again, or he returns back to OKC, because if he went there, I think they take down Golden State right away. I think if they kept Russ, Paul George, and just Kevin Durant, like those 3 alone, I think, and you build around that, I think they would be able to take down whatever's left of the Warriors. Like I think that immediately puts them into title contention.
I just out loud thought Pelicans, but I'm not sure how much their money. But I'm just thinking Anthony Davis and KD on the same team with Drew Holiday is a very good point guard.
That would be a good fit. That would also be a very good fit.
I don't think anybody's talking about them. I know that the Pelicans have a terrible run organization, so I'm not sure how much money they have necessarily.
That's a dark horse team. And like if they bring Kevin Durant in, you can just bet your money. You can bet $1 million. You can bet your mortgage that Anthony Davis would resign, because there's no way he wouldn't resign after that. And then Drew Holiday is, I mean, if he wasn't in the West, if he was in the East, I'd say he's an all-star because he's a fantastic player, and they have a solid group of guys around them. But I mean, New Orleans, that's a nice team to. That's a nice team to guess he would go to. Like, no one really thinks about.
You need Davis, obviously, but as soon as he's out of there, like, nah.
We'll see. I mean, anything could happen between now and.
This is gonna be a fun offseason. There's so many free agents.
Yeah,
I think most of those people signed 4 years deals when the cap rose, so they're all gonna be free. Like Horford, did he sign a 4+1 or 3+1?
A 3+1. He has a player option next year, so he can decline it. So next year he can technically be a free agent.
All right.
I think he'll.
I thought this was his 4th year with us.
This is because he came in
after the IT.
So before he was with 1 season with IT, and then last season, and then this season.
Yeah. So like after IT lost to the Hawks.
Yes. Yeah. So he had 1 season of IT, then the last 2 years. Yeah. So
this is his 4th, right?
No, this. Hold on a second.
I'm so confused.
I'm looking it up. Hold on, guys. Hold on.
Because we lost to the Bulls last year. I mean, the Cavs the IT year, then the Cavs again, and then
All right, Wikipedia.
No, I think this is 3rd actually. Electric radio.
We'll find out, right? Yeah, we came very prepared for this. He went on the team 2016, so this is his 3rd year.
Year. The whole time I thought this was his 4th year, so that's better for me.
No, it is. I mean, how I look at it, I think
I just go by what I remember from the playoffs.
Yeah, no. Sometimes it's weird with the contract years and stuff. But I think he'll pick up his option.
Yeah, he definitely will pick it up.
$27 million? Like.
I don't think anybody will.
No one will going to give him more than that in free agency, unless like there's a desperate team. But Al Horford doesn't want to leave Boston, so I think he'll pick it up. And then when it's finally up, I'm hoping
get Kyrie probably.
I will get Kyrie back. I'm hoping he'll take somewhat of a cut when we have.
Yeah, I'm thinking he
young guys. I think he will too. I mean, not much. Like gets 27 million. I can see him going down to 20.
Drop down like 20. Yeah,
I can definitely see that because he's one of those guys. And plus, by the time that comes, like he's like 32, 33 right now. I
think he's 33.
33. So I mean, I'm not saying he doesn't have much left in the tank, but like he's at that point of his career where like if he really wants to win, like if he wants to make this team a winning team, like he's gonna have to sacrifice just a little. I mean, everyone's gonna have to sacrifice a little bit, but he's gonna have to sacrifice a little bit of a pay cut. And don't get me wrong, $20 million a year is not bad.
I'll sign up wherever.
35-year-old, like sign me up for that. So I don't think we'll have much issues with his contract.
Karis LeVert, not great. Like,
well,
I didn't see the video just because like I saw it, but I just also like didn't want to focus exactly where, because like that Gordon Hayward thing is still one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen in real life. But like what I seen, it's best case scenario because no like fracture. It was just like his whole foot got shifted, but there was like ligament damage, no fractured bones or anything. So I'm like, and then they're like, oh, he could come back to like this year. I'm like, how does like his foot going sideways do anything?
Yeah, it's like literally I don't want to describe it. Like I watched the video. Like if anyone watched the video, you'll know it did not look good. It literally looked like Gordon Hayward, and it was just awful. But best case scenario for him, he doesn't need surgery. I think he had very few ligament, not much ligament damage. He started rehab already. There was this one player, I forgot who it was. He was a player maybe 10, 20 years ago. He had same thing happen to him, and he returned after 6 weeks. I don't think he'll be back in 6 weeks, but if he does come back this season, I mean that it would be incredible. Like it's just a miracle. Like just seeing it, like you would think that this guy's out all year and beyond. Like you just thought worst case, and the fact that he doesn't even need surgery or anything, like
just gotta put it back into place. You see that thing about Derrick Rose there? He was there for Paul George, was it?
Yeah, Derrick Rose is there for
Paul George, Gordon Hayward, and
then Karis LeVert. Yeah, and he said like that takes a toll on players.
Yeah, especially because he ruined his whole body.
Yeah, like this dude's literally like instead of injuring his own ankles and his knees, he's sacrificing other players' legs and knees.
he's just cursed.
He's a curse. I mean, I'm happy he's playing well. But
LeVert was nice too. Like he's not a big name superstar, but he's still relatively new into the league.
He's an up and comer, and he was great for that Nets team because D'Angelo Russell really hasn't been all that the Nets really expected him to be. And Karis LeVert's he was slowly becoming that team, like that top guy on their team. And I still think when he comes back, he'll go right back into that role. But obviously, he's going to have to take as much time as he needs because coming back from an injury like that, like you don't want to rush back into that. Even if it's like not as serious as we thought it would be, like you still don't want to push it.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's like it's so heartbreaking too. Like I was talking to my roommate about this. Like if something like that, if I was an NBA player and something like this happened to me, like obviously you want to look and see what happened, but like I would try so hard not to just look at it because I feel like that alone would just demoralize you and just be like, oh my God, like that's it. Like just looking down and seeing your foot, your ankle,
like just like, the other way.
It's like that. Just like I saw, like Karis LeVert was like crying and stuff like that. It's like you feel so bad for those guys and stuff like that happens, but it's like we don't see it a lot. But it's just so terrifying knowing that stuff can happen. It really is, and I feel for him.
Yeah, like I don't even know. It's just like Gordon Hayward said he could reach out to him, but if I were Gordon Hayward, I would not want him to reach out because like just talking about that whole experience, like he's gonna want to sugarcoat it and like it's just gonna mess with him like mentally and everything.
It's like Gordon Hayward he says he hasn't never even watched the video.
I wouldn't watch that if I
No, absolutely not, because then it's like you have that in the back of your head.
Every time you jump, like remember that time my foot exploded? Like
yeah, it's tough, but I'm hoping Karis LeVert speedy recovery, but obviously takes his time.
It's like I've had like 2 broken ankles and a sprained one before, and I was like, those hurt because you break your ankle. But imagine just doing that times 1,000. Like I get him a basketball. I used to get him when I played all the time. Like I just come down with a rebound, like twist my ankle or something, and like they just having a break. But that hurt a lot. And imagine how much more it would hurt if it just went like 90 degrees the other way every single time.
And that's the thing, like you feel the pain, like I said, like looking at it alone, just like
that's gotta hurt even more.
Just seeing it the way it is, it's like, Oh,
Like when I was, this is just some random story just based off. So when I was in 8th grade, I like broke my jaw, and like I was just like shocked and awe at first. But like I looked in the mirror and I saw it was like just dangling down, and like it didn't hit me until like, oh, that's just my face. So I'm
yeah.
like, oh god,
It messes you up. It gets to your head. That's what I'm saying. Like you always think about that,
yeah.
and like that's not what you want to do. But like you can't help
You
it.
can't help, like it's subconscious.
It's awful.
Um, then what else do we got? Let me pull it up. I lost it.
When we look at the standings right now with the East and the West, I mean,
that's like one of the final things I want to touch on. So everyone's saying like the West dominates the East player wise, which is 100% sure.
yes, that's fact.
It was like absolute at first, but the East is slowly coming back. We got Kawhi back in the East. We got Jimmy Butler back in the East. Oladipo's making a name for himself. Those are 3 stars right there.
And
Blake
then
Griffin came to the East.
And now the Bucks, they're actually like they're
Giannis, you could argue Middleton.
They're looking like a real team now. It's like right now, the West is still better, than the East easily. I think you can just say that alone because the West have more teams in their conference that can
playoff capable.
Exactly, and with the East, like it's getting there. I think you give it 3, 4, 5 years, and especially like with this coming off season, like see where other people go. I think 3 to 5 years, the East is going to be just as good. The league is gonna like balance out a little bit more. Even the East might be better than the West. I mean, the East have 4 top teams: Raptors, Celtics, Bucks, Sixers. The West has the Warriors, the Thunder, the Rockets if they can figure it out, and then the Trailblazers and Nuggets are doing incredible right now. If you're looking at like the top teams in each conference, like the top 3 teams, the Raptors, Celtics, Sixers might be better than like the Warriors, Thunder, Trailblazers. Like obviously the Warriors.
Where the Rockets at? I know they're low. I think they're 5 and 7.
They're 6 and 7 at the 12 seed right now.
I mean,
but they're only a game and a half back of the 8th seed.
What are the Celtics? The 4 seed right now?
Celtics are 5, but they're half a game behind the Pacers. That's the thing. Like it's so early. Like rankings don't really mean much right now.
Like stats don't mean anything.
Like all the teams are super close. It's when you get to like the 25-30 game mark is when that stuff actually matters. But like. Right. I mean, you can make the argument that the top teams in the East are a little bit more competitive than top teams in the West. I mean, the Warriors might be able to cover for like the 2 and 3 teams just because they're the Warriors. But I think it's encouraging seeing that all these teams in the East are getting competitive now because it's not like a Western Conference NBA now. Like it's not like whoever makes it out of the West is the NBA champion. Like I think this year might be the first year where we might have the discussion like, oh, maybe an East team could win the finals, and then if
anyone wins it from the East, it'll be Toronto
or Boston.
I don't think Philly's gonna.
No, that's what I'm saying. The only 2 teams that if they come out of the East that could beat the Warriors, I think, or at least give them a shot. Are the Raptors and the Celtics. Like I don't think the Sixers or Bucks would be able to beat, even though the Bucks did blow out the Warriors. When it comes to playoff time in the finals, it's just a whole different thing. And that's when experience plays a part into it. Like Giannis and all those guys have never been to a finals. They've never really made a deep playoff run. Teams like the Celtics, Kyrie won a championship. Horford's been to the playoffs countless times. I think Horford's been in the playoffs every year of his career.
Yeah, he started with those Joe Johnson, Josh Smith Hawks.
Yeah, he just jumped right into it. The Raptors, Kawhi Leonard, Danny Green. Kyle Lowry hasn't really made a deep playoff run, but he's been to the playoffs a handful of times. Serge Ibaka. It's like those teams have guys that have been there and can teach their young guys or guys that haven't been there. Like they could help them along the way with that experience. Where you have a team like the Bucks, where they really don't have anyone that's made it that far, and it's like if they did make it to the finals. They won't do much. Same with the Sixers.
Yeah, for sure. That's really it that I have anything to talk about. It's kind of a slow week. Oh wait, one more thing that I can just think of right now. Is Derrick Rose back? Like
Derrick
he went off
Rose,
the other night, but we just recorded or something like that. We never really talked about it.
Derrick Rose had that 50-point game. Derrick Rose has been. I think he's close.
And he
to
got like
averaging,
7 threes the next game or something, or
He's
8 threes.
close. Let me look at his stats right now. Last time I checked, he was averaging like 8. He's averaging 19 points per game right now, 5 assists.
Those are all inflated too. Like
he's shooting 45% from the field and is shooting 48% from three. And he is a 30% 3-point shooter.
I don't know if he can keep it up. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't know. Like, I mean, it all comes down to whether or not he can stay healthy. I mean, now with Jimmy Butler gone, him, Andrew Wiggins, and Karl-Anthony Towns, he's definitely not going to be a 6-man contender anymore because he's definitely going to be a starter from now on. But like, if he can stay healthy, man, I mean, I don't know.
It's fun watching him be back. I mean, like he's not a great human at all, but like
he's like it is nice seeing someone like Derrick Rose like after all the injuries he's been through, blah blah blah. Yeah, I know he's not really like the best person in the world.
Like even when he was in high school,
at least the stories you hear about him and stuff like that. Whether
I'm sure he's better, but like you can't really escape having someone take your SATs and ACTs for you, and then raping a girl, and then
there's
all this other stuff.
There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of background stuff about Derrick Rose that people might not know about that aren't the best things in the world.
Luckily, they died with him when his like career died. Like they didn't really follow him all the much, but now he's revamping it up.
No one really talks about it now. Everyone's just kind of talking about him.
That's kind of like just how everything is, though. Like if someone does well in anything, they'll look for their old tweets or something like that. It's just like, or like Stan Lee just died, and I just know, like
people
my friend,
like a racist
people were saying like my friend is like, he has to have some dirt on him, like, right? I'm like, I don't know, I've never heard anything Stan Lee. So he like searched the internet everywhere and stuff. I'm like, is this what people do now? Like they all just like look for a podcast, looking for like anything to just trash anyone.
That's what people are like. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think it's just the NBA the NBA was great when he was in his MVP form. Like he was amazing to watch. The 50-point performance was incredible to watch.
Cool. Jalen Rose hated that. He's like, he took the most dribbles that it took anyone to like get 50 points by like 300 dribbles. I'm like, let's calm down.
That's the type of player he is, though. I mean, that's the way. Like that's how he was when he was at his best. I think I don't know. I just think the NBA is a better place when you have guys like Derrick Rose, or just like when you have a bunch of guys that are playing very well. It's just fun to watch, seeing those guys come back. And it's a good story too. Like, I mean, we said like there's not a lot of good stuff about Derrick Rose. Like it is a cool story, like him going through all those injuries and then like him scoring 50 and then he was crying afterwards, talking about like never give up, like he could have quit, but he didn't. It's a good feel story.
I think that wraps it up today. Check out our Twitter at BWarmerRadio. Check out our personal Twitters at Ty_Miller35, Dante on deck. Celtics play tonight. Let's hope that they can bounce back, start a little win streak. I think they play like in an hour tops.
7:30 they're around, so probably tip off be around like 7:40. But fingers crossed. It's against Chicago. Other than Zach LaVine, they're now Wendell Carter and Wendell Carter, who I like. Not that good of a team.
Jabari Parker too. I forgot he was there.
Yeah, Jabari Parker. He can score.
I want him to do well, but like
him on defense is just. It's like you saw that video. It's like, can someone turn his controller back on or something like that?
Oh yeah. If that was a couple of years, I forgot about that.
But hopefully Celtics should win. Hopefully they can go 8-6 and then get something going.
Yeah. Hopefully by next week, but they play a couple more games by next recording. Hopefully have a better record.
Hopefully we'll have more positive stuff to talk about the Celtics next week for the Celtics fans.
Yeah, we will see you guys next week.
See you guys.